Hey, what's up, y'all? Back with another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Souls-like Deathbound. And what makes this game different from the other Souls-likes is the fact that you have a party of 4 that you can switch between. I want to say thank you to the developers TrialForge for supplying this channel with the key. And with that out of the way, let's start with the bad as always for full transparency. So many things about this game feel outdated here, from the visuals and animations to the level design, all the way down to the responsiveness of the controls. Now, before I go into detail, I want to let you guys know that a lot of these problems seem to be location and character specific. They are also reoccurring, but this is not how the game is entirely. A lot of the issues seem to really be locked down to certain locations and certain characters. Blocking did not always register unless I was directly facing the enemy, and even when I was locked onto them, I still had trouble doing this. I also noticed that the invincibility frames seem to vary for each character and are altogether inconsistent at times. Early game, the combat in general can feel slow, clunky, and unresponsive. You have enemies that are usually much faster than you, attacking in unison while also dealing with bad camera angles, and the fact that the majority of the controls here lack fluidity. In addition to this, if any of your party members die, it's game over. You lose all your souls and you're forced to retrieve them. The reason this is so annoying is because each character has multiple different stats for durability and stamina. In early game, there are 2 characters in your party with a small amount of health that are incapable of blocking completely. This wouldn't be a problem if you could use certain characters situationally, but the game consistently forces you to morph between the characters in your party. Deathbound gives you a very small amount of healing items and no store to buy them from, forcing you to rely solely on the lifesteal system centered around morphing to heal your party. Dealing damage with the character will heal your inactive characters with each hit or kill. Now, when it comes to combat, all of the characters' health and maximum stamina are shared per character. Now, this means that if you get attacked and you lose health, you lose stamina. It's all tied together. Also, on top of this, blocking, dodging, or attacking also all drain stamina, making it easy for enemies to corner you in certain locations. You can also add in random traps that drop your health, and this all brings an artificial layer of difficulty. The level design here reminds me of the older Resident Evil titles in the worst way possible. Every room looks exactly the same, and the enemy selection does not fit with these smaller, confined environments. There are numerous times during my playthrough where the enemy AI would get stuck in the level or were too big to move through the doors. The vast majority of the levels in this game are simply too small, especially when you factor in the speed and mobility of most of these enemies. Sadly, the boss battle arenas shared some of these exact same problems. In addition to all of this, there is no map. This is a very straightforward game, so you won't stay lost for long, but overall it makes the navigation more difficult and frustrating while also stretching out this game's length considerably. The best way to describe how it feels to play this is forcing the bonfire system into a pre-established linear map reconstructed from another game entirely. While the leveling and loot system both felt bare bones with a limited selection of upgrades and no weapons or armors, only rings and artifacts. And when it comes to the technical issues, I encountered crashes and numerous glitches, the worst of which teleported me under the level and autosaved. Luckily, I had someone in my party that was capable of damaging themselves, because otherwise I would have been soft locked from here. In addition to this, certain areas had severe frame rate dips, along with screen tearing and bad camera angles, on top of randomly unresponsive controls. There's just an overall lack of polish here that is immediately apparent as soon as you start playing this. All of this compounds and further magnifies the many other problems with this game. Now, when it comes to this game's story, you quickly realize more thought went into the characters than the lore and setting. This game's story abruptly starts with no world building or proper introduction to its setting. So many of these characters instantly begin to reference things, places, and people you've never heard of. And outside of the main character's immediate backstory, nothing else is explained. You can easily piece together things referencing the main plot, but you never get a direct answer on anything like why is everyone using swords and crossbows when there are televisions, metal detectors, and various other signs of modern technology all around. There is just a lot that's just not explained. Alright, now let's transition into the good. Deathbound is a Souls-like with a unique twist. You can build a party of 4 characters and instantly morph between them in and out of combat. Managing your party's different abilities adds layers of complexity, and once you get later to the game, you have more characters to choose from. This actually addressed some of the issues I encountered early to mid-game. Once you have the right party assembled, the morph strike system is easily the best thing about this game. A morph strike is when you swap between different characters mid-attack in order to gain iframes during the transition and to unleash a more powerful strike with the character you swap to. Morph strikes can also help you utilize different attack styles to pull off powerful combinations. Now, you also have morph dodges, and morph dodge is a time dodge that will immediately switch to another character, just like a morph strike, and both use 1 bar from your sync meter. And in addition to this, you also have ultra morph strikes. Ultra morph strikes are basically morph strikes that use the entirety of your meter, and these attacks have flashier animations and they deal more damage. You can also use the morph ability outside of combat to interact with or bypass NPCs that would otherwise be hostile.
At warfare? I recognize these men. Let me approach them. Sir Theron, praise be. We've heard reports that you were missing in action.
People like you are a disgrace to everything Goddess Death stands for.
Bravo. Now, if you please, I have matters to discuss with Agaros or Sir Theron. So, you're finally back, Sir Theron, after failing to perform the duty I tasked you with.
You also have synergies and talents. Synergies are based on your party's composition, and they add buffs to your party, increasing stats and making all the characters stronger overall. Talents are character-exclusive buffs and modifiers that apply to a wide variety of game mechanics. They're unlocked by finding memory points scattered across the levels. This all gives you a very healthy amount of customization and flexibility when it comes to build creation. Overall, there is a fairly challenging level of difficulty to this game that forces you to use all 4 characters, and when everything is working correctly, you actually have something special and unique here. This game has its moments of feeling like a fresh, competent Souls-like, and despite my issues with the story setting and the world building, I actually did enjoy the writing and characters here. All the characters have fairly detailed backstories and occasional idle dialogue amongst each other that includes everyone you've unlocked beyond the limitations of just your party. Them arguing amongst each other in one host was surprisingly funny and entertaining.
This is damnation!
And you better get used to it, cause I'm gonna be your fucking nightmare!
Quiet! For God's sake, all of you, shut the fuck up!
I think most of the voice actors did a great job of bringing the story to life and selling the core mechanic. In closing, I'm going to get this a 6. There is an overall clunkiness that just permeates through this entire game and drags it down. Now, this game does have its moments of truly feeling like something special, but they only last for around 8 to 10 minutes before you start getting slapped in the face by the large list of issues I mentioned earlier. This game comes so close to being a good game. I actually did like the morph strikes. I like the idea of a party system and a Souls-like. I like the morph dodges. There's a lot of things about this game that they actually did right. I enjoyed the writing. I think the backstory for the characters were well done. But then you look at the flip side of that and you look at the frame rate. You look at the unresponsive controls. You look at the level design. It's like for everything that's good, there's something bad here that's equally as bad. And it just all evens out and drops the score down. Now, this game is currently on sale on PSN and Steam. You guys let me know what y'all think about the video in the comments section. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll definitely be back with another one. Peace.